And we know that a lot of you have, concerns about what's going on and how do you best use that in your business. And it's hard not to get wrapped into the craziness that is, all around us. So that's why we put together this special opportunity here. As we do this here, a couple things I want to point out. There are, and I'll bring it up here at the end. We've done 2 brand new Facebook groups that we will make very useful. We talked about this for those of you that joined us out in Jackson. The first is open to all, which is the Maui Mastermind Community. It says open to all. It's we will be sending invites out. Kim, I know you're on here. You're going to make sure that everyone that's on here is getting invites. Larry, if we can mute everybody on here except for myself, that would be great. And there's also the one just for clients. Like, for example, earlier today, we had a post that talked about, how are you doing this to take advantage of the hidden opportunities you found in the situation that's going on? And I shared in here earlier today, we were having a meeting with our coaching staff. And I shared some of the ones that particular investment company, an insurance agency, a contractor client. There's some good stuff in here that I think you guys will find really useful. So I want to encourage you to get involved with those 2 different communities. I think you'll find those groups will be valuable. The way we're looking at it now is that the one that's just for clients can be a little bit more forthright with what we share, and the one that's open to the Facebook community, larger than that, be a little bit circumspect. Be smart about what you do or don't share, because ultimately there will be a lot more people in that group, and the relationship is a bit different. All right. So I'm looking on here and I see Leslie on here and Kristen on here. Welcome on here. Just trying to think. Renee is on here. Fantastic. Robert's on here. Patty's on here. Fantastic. Jennifer's on here. Cool. Alan's on here as well. Great. Let's get started. So the place I want to start off talking about here is obviously the elephant in the room. We all get, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world right now about COVID-19, some of which is warranted, some of which is probably overblown. The right answer is probably somewhere in there in the middle. But how can you as a business owner best respond to what's going on? How can you best make the most of the situation as a business owner? Format for today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be spending about 25, 30 minutes together max. And at the end, we're going to stay here for those who want to have a conversation, and we'll open it up to webcams and people having questions and wanting comments here from, whether it be from Patty or from Jennifer or Steve or any of the other Maui coaches on here, and sharing with each other here. We're going to go ahead and do that here in just a moment. For this part of it, we're going to be without sharing all the screens right now. So Larry will be muting everybody, and we'll be just kind of keeping ourselves simple here for the next short bit. So the first place I want to start, which is the only way I really know how to talk about this, is to do this as an example for how we're dealing with it. So we thought we had our answers and our responses all lined up to what's going on. And so last week on Thursday and Friday, we had a series of meetings. We had everything we thought well planned through. And then, of course, over the weekend, things changed over the weekend, and things got a bit more serious over the weekend. And you started seeing things like CDC making recommendations for groups that are over, what used to be for groups that are over 250, not having the events. They changed that, and that changed down to over 50. And then on Sunday, it was over 10. And then states like California declared emergencies, and they said in San Francisco, no non-essential travel. And they did lots of different things, which meant we had to adjust, just like you all are having to adjust there. So I'm going to share from experiences of what we're doing, not because what we're doing is necessarily just right, but because it gives you a model that you can take best practices from and pick and choose the parts that fit for your company. So it started off with a meeting we had yesterday, Monday. Now, once a month we get together by webcam. This is part of the Maui team here, not all, but part of the Maui team. And we did this one by phone. And so normally once a week we get together for a 15-minute phone huddle. Beyond there, once a month we get together for a half-an-hour webcam. Well, we took half an hour, we did it by phone, and we had this conversation. And the reality is I talked to my staff. I said, look, I know you've got some fears. I know you've got some concerns. I know you've got some worries. And I just want to talk about that. And I started off with a language pattern that I want to share with each of you. And I want to see if this resonates for you. So I started my companies back in 1997. So I've been doing it for quite some time, roughly 25 years. And in that 25-year period, I remember in 1999, right before Y2K, when the world ended with Y2K, I remember how in 2001 with 9/11, the world ended, yet somehow we're still here. I remember with the dot-com bust, and somehow we're still here. I remember how the world ended with the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, and yet somehow we're still here. I remember how the world came to an end when we had the situation in 2007 with Lehman Brothers failure and the subprime mortgage implosion, and yet we're still here. And I remember when in 2008 and the start of the Great Recession and all kinds of the meltdown financially, and yet even though the world came to an end, we're still here. And the same would be true for SARS and for MERS and for the Zika virus that happened several years ago, that the world was coming to an end, but somehow we're still here. And I remember when the world came to an end with Ebola a few years back and how panicked we all got. So I don't know exactly how it's going to play out here. None of us do. And chances are it's going to be having some real pain and some real opportunity. And some people are going to be looking for how the world's coming to an end. And I know that somehow we will find a way that even though the world will be coming to an end, that we will still be here. That's one thing I can be confident about as we go through this process. So that same story I just shared with you, I hope that you share that type of story with your team, because there are 4 lines of inquiry I want to share with you, if I may. These lines of inquiry are going to be what I'm going to recommend that you think through this way for yourself. The first line of inquiry we're going to talk about here today is the worries, fears, and anxieties of your marketplace, and also the worries, fears, and anxieties of your staff. Next, we're going to talk about getting the facts. I think that's a really important thing for you to be doing, getting the facts. What are the information sources that you're paying attention to? What are the information sources that you're filtering out? How do you make sure you're making fact-based decisions about what's going on here about this, which is so important? Then we're going to be talking about what scenario planning do you need to be doing? And finally, what's your communication plan? So these are the things that I'm hoping that you'll consider for 4 question sequences that you need to ask yourself and to start talking about inside of your company. I'm going to ask that you do this 2 different ways. One way I'm going to ask that you do this is internally with your company. How does these questions about worries, fears, anxieties, the facts, scenario planning, your communication plan, how does that impact you inside your company? And then also from the perspective of you with your clients, you with your customers. I think that's going to be very important for that, for you guys to be doing that. All right. So the next place I want to go here is just to do these one by one. And then again, at the end here, we'll have plenty of time to just have discussion around this. So the first part about worries, fears, and anxieties, and that's where I want to start off here. So what I'm really looking for is what's the inner dialogue of your team? I sat down and I brainstormed that out for Maui Mastermind for what I thought our staff was, and I've got my answer here. I'll just share with you. I think that they were asking questions, and probably still are to a degree. What does this mean for me and my family? I think that's a question they're asking. Will I lose my livelihood? Will the business fail? Will we lose clients if their businesses fail or suffer? My kids are home now, and it makes it more difficult for me to work remotely. You know, what happens if one of my kids makes some noise during a formal meeting that we've got going on because I'm working from home and they're no longer in school? You know, I'm scared. Is the world coming to an end? Is my family safe? Will my community fall apart? Is our country going to make it through this? These are all things that are likely going on in one degree or another in the inner dialogue of your staff. And when you recognize that that's there, we know that as a leader, we have to be the voice to speak directly to that, to calm that, to address that. We don't have to solve it, but we have to be there standing in courage for that, for our team. That's what they need from us. The next place we talk in here, when we understand what that's the dialogue for them, what are the facts? Specifically, what do we actually know? What do we actually know about what's going on? What are the information sources that we're paying attention to? What do we need to stay on top of? Are these reputable sources? When I talked with my team yesterday, I let them know, I said, look, we're not going to be paying attention to headlines and other sensationalist things. We're not going to pay attention to what we see on the broadcast news on television. Why? Because that stuff is pure hype. We're going to be looking at reputable sources of information like the CDC.gov We're going to be looking at John Hopkins has great information right now that's fact-based, that's empirical, that's useful. Right now, the New England Journal of Medicine has great information. We're going to be paying attention to various state and county health commissioners' offices that have great information. And we're going to do our best to filter out the other junk. Just because we see it on some social media doesn't mean it's true. I had a conversation with my wife 2 days ago, and she brought up, she said, hey, they just said that the military, they're not letting any of their personnel travel. I said, well, hang on a second. I don't know if that's really true. And she said, no, 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 it's true. I said, well, let's look at that. And it turned out what the military had done was they said, we're not going to be moving families from base station, from station to a new assignment right now. We're going to temporarily hold off on that to keep families in place, to keep duty stations in place. Makes perfect sense for that. They don't want to have too much of a mobile. But of course, they're not saying that people in the military aren't traveling. That's not what they're saying. But again, that was the information that was out there. There was information about a nationwide lockdown, which was not true. It was a meme on the internet and was total bogus information, but it caused panic. So we're going to pay attention to reputable sources of information. And I really want to encourage you to talk with your team about what those sources of information are. Now, as you have that source of information, it's pretty important for you to make decisions, but not get locked into the decisions that you're making. One thing that we have to be aware of, there's a fancy word for it. I'm going to share with you that word. The word is called cognitive lock. I guess technically it's a term. We're going to schedule informal check-ins to rethink our decisions, because as information changes, as we get new and more vital insights over the next days, weeks, months, we don't want to be locked into our old context. And in high stress situations, and this would qualify probably, there's something that's called cognitive lock. It's a form of tunnel vision where somebody makes a decision that this is how they're going to handle it, and they lock into that. And we want to be careful that we pause and regularly ask ourselves, is this still the right way to go? Now, we were having a coach conversation earlier today about this, sharing some ideas with each other. And Steve Maxwell brought up a really important point. He said, when I talk with the different clients that we have, David, one of the things I've been pointing out with them is, look, we don't have to have this all figured out. We just have to know what next steps we're going to take that we can get ourselves moving there. We have to make some initial preliminary decisions about what we're going to do. But really, we don't have enough information to know exactly how all this works out, nor should we be trying to figure it all out with that. So the first thing we're going to do is get clean on what are the fears, anxieties, and worries of our team. And we're going to speak to that inner voice. We're going to calm and reassure them, because people will do their best when they're at their best. And for them to be at their best, they've got to have some reassurance. Next, we're going to be doing, like we talked about here, gathering what the facts really are, separating fact from fiction. Finally, number 3 is scenario planning. We're going to do some scenario planning. Specifically, how can we mitigate some of these risks that we're facing? What are these risks? How can we reduce them? What are the opportunities that are available to us? The opportunities might be our opportunities. They might be the opportunities for our customers. They might be the opportunities of our customers' customers. And please, I'm telling you, all of us have opportunities that are available with that. For example, I mentioned about the Facebook pages that we're doing. Well, I just shared just a little bit ago about how in our company, there's someone who has an investment company that for them, one place for him is that he was dealing with a cash flow challenge. Well, he was talking with one of our coaching staff, and the coaching staff said, well, tell me more about this. He says, well, I borrowed a lot of money from investors. What did you borrow? Were these lenders or were these equity partners? Well, they were equity partners, but I owed them a preferred return. And right now, the current situation is impacting our cash flow. Well, got it. They're preferred players who are equity partners, so you haven't guaranteed them a return. You've guaranteed them to get the first period or the first part of any return. But right now, you have a real opportunity to explain to them that right now the returns aren't there, and there's going to have to be a period of time that you're not going to be paying that return. What it was, by talking that through with his coach for this particular client, he was able to free up $20,000 per month of cash flow for him to ride through what he needs to ride through. You know, another client of ours who owns an insurance agency realized, wow, that while this hurts his firm short term, in the medium term, there's going to be some real opportunities that some of his competitors, especially those that have been doing this for a long time, that are burnt out and tired, they're going to want to close down shop. They're going to want to get out. And he's going to have a real opportunity to buy some more agencies, which he's done in the past to grow. What a great opportunity for him. Or another one about a contractor whose biggest limiting factor was finding staff. And for him, he talked about, wow, you know what? A lot of my competitors are just putting this bunker mentality. And with this bunker mentality, what they're doing is they're just shrinking in. And because of that, they're laying off staff. He's like, well, this is a great opportunity for me to go out and find some people that I need for my my crews to be out there working. So my challenge for you is, where's the opportunity for you in here? Because the opportunity exists. And to be thinking that through, I think that's really important for you. Really important for you to be doing. The next part that I want to kind of share in here as we kind of jump in here after scenario planning is your communication plan. How are you going to be communicating to your team, your customers, and your marketplace? You know, there are opportunities for all of you. Matter of fact, I'm going to challenge you right now. Let's even go back for a second. What's the opportunity for you right now in your business? You know, hopefully later on you'll go put it on the Facebook page in that group there that we have, so we can share it with each other and keep each other inspired about what's going on as you share different opportunities there. Um, for example, you'll see different clients of ours, Amber and Gina shared theirs. I've shared a couple up there as well. For Maui Mastermind, here's an example of an opportunity. We've been wanting to create these Facebook groups for a while, but we've only been dipping our toe. Well, we're all in. This is a time that we're doubling down on client relationships. So we hope that you'll participate with us online with that part. But this is a chance for some of you to deepen client relationships. I was talking earlier today with a client who runs a financial services firms where he does financial advising. They still have 10 or 15% of their clients that only want to do in-person meetings. Well, that's expensive for him because he's got to keep a third office open in an area of California that's very expensive. Right now, this gives him an opportunity to get those clients to be used to virtual meetings. There is something good in there for you. I don't know what it is, but there is something as an opportunity for you. It's up to you to find what that opportunity is. So if you would, in the chat function here, I'm asking for each of you to type in what would be an opportunity that you see for your business. What's an opportunity that you see for your business? Type it in there if you would. There is some opportunity there. Either it's about you, or an opportunity that you could serve your customer or your customer's customers, something that you could do to help them. Curious what you have for that part of it. So for Danielle, letting them know that, hey, you can do their classroom trainings online as an example, especially with all the schools that are dealing with sending their kids home and closing for a period of time. That's great. What are the other opportunities that you have? Launching of your telehealth program for you, Kristen. I think that's fantastic. What else is there? Everyone has opportunities in their business. Jeff talks about getting their customers to start working through text versus coming into the office would be good for him. Charlie talked about with college dorms shutting down, his apartment complexes are going to be important for them and for them to have a place to live. Renee talks about being an information source for their clients, right? We all have opportunities in there. We're all also going to have challenges. Totally agree with that. We are. There's going to be some pain with it. But there is some opportunity, and if I can focus my staff on that and be a voice to pull the best for them, what that's going to do is only be in your best interest for doing that. So we talked about communication plan. I guess the bottom line of what I would share with that is, how are you going to use the moment? How are you going to use this moment? You've got a lot of choices here about that. You know, stuff's going to happen. We can't control it. We can stay on top of reputable sources of information, but somewhere in here, no matter how much we want to say the world's going to come to an end, we're still going to have the world when we're done, and we're going to figure out our way through it. How do we know that? Because we always have before. So at this point, what I'd like to do, Larry, if we can go back now to having a view where we show everybody who's got a webcam. I want to turn this more into a dialogue. I will let you know that this Thursday, coming up this Thursday, let me just find the exact time for it. This Thursday, give me one moment, I'm going to pull it up right now. In our Facebook group, I'm going to be doing a live segment on Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, sharing 10 concrete steps to take in your business. This is happening pretty quickly, and I didn't have the time to really get them all hammered in, but by Thursday, I will give you the very best of the 10 steps, I think, more of the mechanics Today was more about how can we make sure we guard our own mind and the minds of our staff so that we're doing smart things. I'm curious here, give me a quick show of hands for anybody here. Chris has decided that she knows how to use the background of her Zoom. That's pretty cool. The rest of us are all old school with that. I love it. She's flying through the air. But if you would, give me a quick hand signal here, if you would. If someone would be willing to share, what's one thing you realize that you need to do based on what we've talked about to calm your team or to have your team feel more comfortable? Give me a quick hand signal if I can see you. I'd love to hear from you guys. So Ron, I'm going to have you share first, Steve second, Charlie third, Danielle fourth. We'll go in that order. So Ron, what's one thing you need to do to calm, settle, and bring the best out on the fax team? Then we'll go to Steve. Oh, you're still on mute on your individual. Okay, now we're hearing you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, David. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's prudent to reflect on what we should do and have some policies in place, and which is what we have at fax in case there is a more widespread virus in our area, which we don't currently have right now, but it's anticipated. But what we don't want to do is worry about all the possible scenarios. It's not productive and it's often painful. If people are thinking about all the worst case scenarios, they're going to have a lot of anxiety associated with that, and it's not going to be helpful. And so that's what I'm trying to help everyone keep things in perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious, Ron, just a question for you. Have you given them that perspective of, over the last 20 years, how many of these scares we've had in various ways where everything we felt was coming crashing down, yet somehow we're still here? If not, I would encourage you. I've found that with my staff, it's been a very positive way of framing it.
Yeah, actually, we get that lecture every year from our financial advisor, and he reminds us of 2008. And so, yeah, I think our people are pretty resilient like that.
That's great. That's great. Steve, what about for you is something you now know that you're going to take from that to use to communicate?
Just that taking specific action in a specific area, it alleviates fear and it actually empowers you. And in the end, it may actually be better than before.
That's great. Charlie, then we're going to go to Danielle, and we'll have a few others share after that. Charlie, what was it you're going to take to help you better calm the feelings and emotions of your staff?
Well, I mean, I guess I need to I've talked to my regional manager about it, that we're okay, we're financially sound, we have the wherewithal to get through this storm. In our economy, we have a storm about every 7 to 10 years. I mean, it just happens. And, unfortunately, we've come to this 140 months of an economic expansion, and everybody was wondering what that shoe was going to drop, and it didn't look like there was a shoe to drop. This is obviously that shoe. It's a cycle of business. It's a cycle of nature. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. You can't have 5,000 months of economic expansion without having a pullback. But on a more concrete note for them, we have jobs, we have money, we have financial, we're not in a financial crunch at this point in time. I mean, if this goes 6 months, I don't think anybody's going to have, if everybody stays home for 6 months, we just turn off the economy. That's not what's going to happen. Our economy's not going to stop just because we have a hiccup in the road. And I think I probably need to maybe even have a group chat with all 35 of our staff members and let them know that the earth is not going to stop spinning. We are going to get through this hiccup, and it will probably come back even better than ever. We'll have more systems in place. We have actually been working on our disaster recovery plan for a month and a half now. With our regional manager has had this on her radar even before I did. So that's something.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Danielle, I'm going to have you share. Then I'm going to want the rest of us to think, what's an opportunity? I know some of you've typed them out there. I'm going to get some volunteers to share what you see as the opportunity in here, because all of us have it, whether it's the direct opportunity for our company, whether it's something that we can serve our customers better with their opportunity, or we even look one step further up the food chain, our customer's customer, and help with them. But Danielle, what was one thing you're going to take from this to help you calm your staff?
So my big takeaway from this is actually to send out an email or something more en masse to everybody. My team is virtually distributed. They are on lockdown already. They're in Italy, they're in Spain, they're in Bangladesh, they're in Philippines. They are actually in their homes. They can't leave. And in what's actually reassuring maybe for everybody. So my team is like literally everywhere. Denmark, there are places where we're not allowed to go. But what's reassuring maybe for everybody is that there's great protocols in place. Things are actually calmer out there than we feel here in North America. That said, what I'm missing is all my messaging to North America about everything. I like the fact, Charlie, the point, I think it was Charlie, the point about the economy's not stopping because there's hiccup in the road, filtering out the information, reassuring team that we're going to be strong because we are virtual, like everything that's pointed out there. What my takeaway is, I actually need to communicate with everybody, which I had not thought of. So
Good
this
for
is
you.
helpful.
That's a good point. One of the things on Thursday I'll talk about is this idea. It's a funny word I'm going to use: over communication, and I use that a little bit tongue in cheek. So in times like this, we think, oh gosh, I don't want to over communicate. What happens is we've got cognitive lock. 1 month ago, if we were to send to our team an email each day that said, here's a quick status update with 2 or 3 bullets, that would be over communicating. But today's world, they would actually find that reassuring in many respects, assuming the information is pertinent and important for what they're doing. Your customers and clients the same way. Your marketplace wants to hear more. I would ask that we don't just send out, how many of you have gotten the same generic COVID-19 email from 75 different vendors of yours, right? I mean, I think every airline, I'm a part of their frequent flyer club, have all of you gotten like the same COVID-19 email from the different airlines? You know, because we all know that right now, what's the word they call this time in the world? They call this world, who remembers the word? Unprecedented. How many of you have heard unprecedented? It's like they copied and pasted it. It's total groupthink. This is not unprecedented. Are you kidding me? Unprecedented? Yes, you're right, unprecedented. This never happened before 2 years ago, 7 years ago. Didn't happen in 1918. None of this stuff ever happened, ever in the history of the world. As you over communicate, and I use that word to remind us that it's okay in the short run, please take care not just to copy how other people are doing it. Use your brains, right? Let's use our discernment to do it really intelligently. That said, who would be willing to give me a quick hands up? I'm going to get 4 or 5 of you to share what you see as the opportunity for your business inside of all this stuff going on. Can I get 4 or 5 of you to give me a hand up here? I'll get them in line. So we've got Renee in here, would be great. And then I've got Shelly is in here with that. I've got Andrea in here as an opportunity. Can I get 2 more to share an opportunity within all this stuff for your business? All of us have it. I want 2 more here. Okay, there we go. Amber and then Ron. There we go. Okay, so Renee, start us off here if you would. What's the opportunity you see, Renee, for your business?
I see that we have an opportunity to educate our clients in a way that will help them be more financially sound moving forward. You know, helping them put better systems in place, build cash reserves. You know, some of the things that smart business owners do anyway that they're not doing now. So
That's great.
I think that's an opportunity for us.
Quickly, what I should have asked you as well, Renee, tell everyone what type of business you have, because I know what it is, but not everyone does. So just give us the quick heading, and I'll ask the same thing from Shelly and the rest, just to give us a context. Real quickly, what's the business you have?
I have an accounting service.
So funny enough, the financial footing makes a lot more sense. If you had said, I have an outdoor fencing company, that what we do is we put up outdoor barriers, might not be the same answer. Shelly,
Exactly.
if you would, we're going to have you share, then we'll go to Andrea. But Shelly, tell us your business, number 1, and then share what's the opportunity for your business.
So I own a home care agency, and this is giving us opportunity to connect on a deeper level with first responders and other people in our community to, you know, we have staff that have volunteered their time to help lower income seniors get their medications. And it's just giving us opportunity to make some deeper connections and establish who we are in the community.
That's great. Andrea, if you would share quickly what your business is and what the opportunity, then we'll go to Amber, then we'll go to Ron, and then I'm going to bring us to a conclusion. But we're going to stay here for anyone who's got questions they want to throw to a group of high-power brains that are on this web meeting right now. But Andrea, if you share the opportunity first. You're on mute, so you just need to unmute your, there you go.
Alt, control.
You're good.
A. Okay, thank you. My business sells wholesales to shops all over Hawaii. They're of course now all hurting because there are no customers for them. I can now communicate to them real information. Today I got one of the few useful communication emails from one of the many vendors out there that said had concrete information for retailers from McKinsey of what they had done in the previous downturn that kept them viable. I'm going to share that with my customers. Also, I didn't really have all my retailers on email. Well, we're just now building an email broadcast to all of them so I can actually communicate to my customers outside having to reach them through my sales reps.
Fantastic. That's great. Amber, then we'll go to Ron. Amber, share your business real briefly and then tell us what's the opportunity hidden there in this situation for your business.
So I do accounting also, but my main focus is on restaurants, which is getting hit really hard right now. But one of the things that I think has been really great out of all of it is that we started sharing resources on SBA loans, and I feel like we're building tighter connections and better relationships with our clients. We know that they have to close down, so we're drastically reducing our fixed fees, and a lot of our team has kind of volunteered to lay off for the next couple weeks because our restaurants aren't doing anything. And the good side of it is I still have tax stuff that we're working on, or that I'm working on. So we have something coming in and just focusing on the virtual tax prep.
Got it. Great. Thank you for that. Ron, same question. Tell us what Fax does briefly, and then what's the opportunity for you?
So at Fax, we make industrial control products, and we have about 65 team members. In 2008, we built a new warehouse and expanded our product offering in anticipation of the next upturn. And this is the opportunity we have now. We're not going to build another warehouse, but we do have the opportunity to develop a lot of products that we've been slow to develop because of interruptions and other things. And our production people don't have to be laid off, or they don't have to be slowed down. They can build up a lot of inventory. This is an opportunity for us to really get ahead, and we'll be ready for the next upturn when everybody else is still covering their butts.
That's great. I want you all thinking about, recruiting. How could you pick up talent right now? Relationships. How can you deepen vendor, supplier, customer, team relationships? Are there buying opportunities for you to be picking up inventory, supplies from people inexpensively? Is there other companies right now that you might be able to say, look, you don't want to deal with this. We'll step in and buy your company. You carry it back and we'll take the rest. Access to people. Right now, if you frame it the right way, you'll have more access today to certain people that you never would have access to before than at any other time. And then the last thing is, anytime you have a large change in the market space, your staff, your customers, your marketplace are more open to new and different today because they're scared than they ever would be 1-2 months ago. So if there are changes you've been wanting to make internally, I really want everyone to finally start using our ERP, our software system, or I really wish people would start buying into the internal UBS that we have. I tell you what, they will be paying attention and actually much more open to that right now than they ever would have been 2 months ago. Are there things that you put off doing that would be to work on the business because you've been so busy dealing with stuff? Maybe there's some chance to build some systems out. Maybe right now it's an opportunity to work to double down and train your team, right? So I want you to know and just come from that frame. There are opportunities available for you. We just need to seize them. Yes, there are going to be some risks we've got to mitigate. Yes, there is going to be, for some of us, some real pain that we have to deal with. But all of us are going to find our way through. And I hope that you lean heavily on each other. I hope that you lean heavily on your Maui coach, because this is the worst time in the world for you to go and pull back and hide. If you isolate right now, what's going to happen? I can almost guarantee you, the person who isolates and pulls back, see if this matches your experience, Ed. What he or she does is they put their head down and they just start to work and they try to brute force their way through it. Brawn is not going to get you through this healthfully. Brains are what's going to get you through this healthfully. Creativity, relationships, a little bit of extra thought so that you're working intelligently. And that requires that we connect with each other, not that we pull back. I know we're all freaked to go to the grocery store without having anything, and 5 times you sanitize your hands before you open your car door. But all that aside, we need each other now more than ever. So lean on your Maui coach, lean on each other. We'll do our best to be a good source of information together with you. The Facebook Live presentation on Thursday, if you can't be there live, then make sure you take a look at on the video side of it. I'll make that much more mechanically based in terms of step, the 10 things that you can do. That will be short, just like this, half an hour or less. You'll have a chance to ask questions on there if you want to live, but you've got a lot of resources here. Tap into each other, tap into your Maui coach, and don't you dare hide, because brute force is not going to get you through this. Using your brain, keeping your wits about you, leveraging your team, that's what's going to get us all, not just through this, but from this to where we want to be. So I'll formally declare us done, but I'll leave it open. Anyone have any questions, comments, things that you want to share? Those that need to go, I wanted to honor, we went 3 minutes over, I apologize, but I want to honor that time part. I'm curious, anyone have a comment you'd like to make or a question you'd like to put to the group? Give me a quick hand if you do. If not, we'll be ending here, but we're doing this as a resource for you guys. Andrea, a comment or a question, then we'll go over here to Danielle after that. Andrea? There you go, now you're back.
What you've just done for us made me realize what I can do for my team. You've communicated with me, and I will take this forward to mine. I mean, it really was so much more vivid what I need to do. Thank you.
You're very welcome with that. We're going to go over to Danielle, then over to Shelley. If you see my hands moving, that's just because where you are on the screen.
So Andrea, maybe you can help me. I'm still not clear exactly on the right balance of empathy versus just relaying back the facts to my team. I've been taking notes from this, but I also want to, respect people's feelings, but I also want to reassure them. So I don't know. I'm a type of blind. I know many are concerned with COVID-19, and rightly so. And like that's it. That's my line of empathy. And then the rest is reassurance. Like, at what point is it like I'm actually being callous? Because people are afraid.
I'll give a comment. I'm curious for other people here, Andrea and others. So my one piece of advice to you, Danielle, is to stop before that conversation and write down, what is their inner dialogue? I don't have to solve for people. Empathy means I understand you. It doesn't mean that I agree with you. So look, Ron, I understand that right now you're probably wondering, what does this mean for you? You've got to wonder, is the company going to be okay? And does that mean you're still going to have a job? You might be wondering about, what does it mean for your family and the community? Is it safe for you to go outside? It's scary. Are your kids going to be okay? I understand that all those things are in your head with that. What I want you to know is, right, just understand by using his language is the best thing I could tell you from my end. Andrea, then anyone else have a comment on that comment or question here as well? Okay, we'll go Andrea, then over here to Jennifer, and then we'll go to Shelley. Go ahead, Andrea, please share.
My community, I'm still on mute, sorry.
No, we're good.
Yeah, my team is similar to Danielle's. We are outsourced all over the world. I will tell mine that, number one, we're financially sound. They don't have to worry about losing their jobs. That I understand any of them that have a health problem needs to take care of their children, their family, their elders. I totally understand it and of course support it, but I do expect them to also have responsibility to us as a company, that if they need to pull back, we're all cross-trained, they need to communicate to me and their peers so that our work does not fall through the cracks.
That's great. It's important for them to know you care for them and you'll be there for them. And there's some expectations of how we can care for each other and cover for each other. Jennifer, what was your comment there? And then we're going to move over to Shelley. Yep, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I think just very quickly, I'd like to say, having seen many things happen, like you mentioned earlier, and coaching a number of business owners and leaders during that time, I think the point here is to really be true to yourself, be in integrity with yourself. And what I've found is that when business owners, and this is just mirroring what you've already said, David, if you're going to follow your own heart and guidance, but be a strong pillar for your people, lead by example, choose what it is that you want to create right now and you want to be a part of. I think it's, just like anything, if we were going to take a vacation, we'd have a lot better chance of getting there if we actually chose the destination rather than just getting in the car. Because
Yeah.
if we chose a place that required an airplane ride, we wouldn't make it there in the car. So I think just the more we can do right now about making very conscious choices at this time, deciding who we want to be, how we want to act, what we want to create, the sky's the limit. And just, kind of one side note, I think everyone on this call and everyone I know through the Maui community, we are heart-centered, loving human beings. And there's no part of that that's going to be discounted. And situations like this bring opportunity. And I have seen many people be of service, but at a greater way. And I think that's where the opportunity is. If you're consciously choosing how you want to show up in the world now, you can also, and I say this to everybody on the call, you can dream big right now and
That's right.
allow this situation to be an opportunity where you, your people, your products and services are serving at a deeper level, because making more money now is a possibility.
That's great. Shelley, we're going to circle over to you. A comment or a question from you here?
Just confirming everything that Jennifer just said and that you've said, and what this is reminding me of is of my role as a leader, that I've had lots of conversations with people in my office about the situation that's going on, but it's been at a very much of a peer level, but it's my job to be the leader, to be the encourager, and to establish the tone of where we're going. And I guess that's my greatest takeaway from this meeting tonight.
That's important.
That's my role.
Yeah.
That's our role. That's our role.
So to do that well, Shelley, and to the rest of us, one thing we need to do is we need to take care of self. We call this emotional hygiene.
Yeah.
And I use the word hygiene intentionally, right? We don't just shower, unless you're my kids, once a week. We shower regularly. And we do that because, we get dirty again, right? We're going to have moments where we cycle through things, and we're going to be on highs and lows with that. Hopefully we can moderate that a little bit more. But what do we do to take care of ourselves? Some of you might meditate. Others of you might go and just go for a walk somewhere in nature. Some of you, it might be for you listening to some positive audio. For some of you, it might be being part of a webcam meeting like this, just a chance to get a breath of fresh air. Some of you, it might be prayer. Some of you, it might be reading an inspirational book. You taking care of yourself is really important. And the last comment on leadership, we don't have to have the answers. We just have to have the faith. What do I mean by that? It's perfectly okay for me to say, Larry, I don't know exactly how this is all going to play out. I do know that we'll find our way through it. We've got the resources and the talent to find our way through it. I don't know exactly what it looks like. I know what the next week looks like, and we'll find our way through it together. And I know we'll lean heavily on each other and support each other through it. Can I count on you, right? That's a leader. A leader doesn't say, I know it all, I have it all figured out, because we don't have the information. If I said right now we have it all figured out, we're suffering from cognitive lock. We think we know the answer, but tomorrow, next week, it's going to change. All I know is that every one of you here has the capability to figure out the way through this stuff. And you'll still be here dancing and enjoying and doing good stuff in the world when this is all over. You will. You will. So any other comment or question from anyone, and I'll bring us to an end if not. Yep, Ron, we'll go to you. Anybody else? Okay, Ron, we're going to go to you.
Yeah, real quick. The way I see cognitive lock, it's like it's the fear of uncertainty and it's fear of the future. So our brain gets wrapped up in thinking about all these scenarios of what can happen. And I've never been really good at predicting the future, and that's what I want all my team members to know is they're probably not any good at it either. And if you think about whenever there's like a really bad situation, like let's say you're in a building, there's a fire, they say, okay, remain calm. Well, why do they say that? Because if you're freaked out, you're not going to find the best way out of the damn place. So yeah, we got to remain calm so we can use our inner wisdom and we can use our yeah, you know what I mean, our natural innate ability to solve problems anyway. So thanks for all the time, David.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that phrase, our inner wisdom with that part. Look, we're going to bring the best out of ourselves and the best out of our team, the best out of our customers and marketplace if we keep our wits about us and have a certain confidence that there is something good in here for us to serve greater, which improves the business and improves other lives. That's what the world needs right now. The world doesn't need us going and hiding in a hole right now. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope this was a productive and useful 43 minutes. I hope you join me on Thursday. Oh, yeah, we have one more. Who is this? Okay, never mind. Bye, everybody. Have a great evening. See you on Thursday, I hope. Yay! That's a pretty loud, resounding applause from everyone who's on mute. I love it.
Hi, David. Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Bye, everybody.